Hey friends, you are crafting with Kim Byers at the Celebration Shop, and it is day 2 of our back to school crafts. And so today we are going to make a teacher gift. So we're going to make a clipboard with vinyl that says live, love, teach. It's really cute. It's something super fun that we can do. You could attach a gift card to it, or you could, put a sweet little note from your child just telling them how excited they are to be in their classroom. So let's hop over to Cricut Design Space. I'm going to show you what we're doing, and then we'll hop over to the craft table and put it all together. And by the way, if you've not already, please hit that subscribe button so you join me for all my future videos. We have tons more back to school coming your way, as well as Halloween and Christmas and all the stuff in between. Okay, let's go. In Cricut Design Space. And so what we want to do is we want to open up a new canvas. And if you're on the home page of Cricut Design Space, there's a box, so you just click new. So once we're here, what we want to do is we want to pull in a design, and I'm going to use this one called Live, Love, Teach. This is something I actually designed for Cricut a couple of years ago, and it's in a cartridge that I designed, but if you have Cricut Access, it's free to you. So let me show you how to find not only this one, but some other back to school ideas to put on your clipboard. So if we go into images, then you can go into here, search here. You can do back to school or anything like that. These are featured images, things that have recently been added to Cricut, or just things that they're currently featuring. But if you want to see like all of the school related images, if you go up into all images and then go to themes, you can do classroom and education, and it's going to bring up all kinds of really fun back to school and school type items. And so then you can search from there. But if you are looking for a specific artist, so if you want a specific brand, they do have a section here, so you can search your favorites here, Disney, Star Wars, all those things. Or you can go back up into category. And so for those of you who have been Cricut users for a long time, there might have been images or image sets that you used, cartridges from way back when. Those are going to be here. So if you click on image sets, and so then see there's over 4,000 image sets, you can then search within that. So I am just going to search my name and bring up some of the ones that I designed for Cricut. Rule of School is, I love this one. I've done a lot of projects on the blog from this cartridge, but the one that we're going to use today is right here in this back to school. So I'm going to click, grab that one and insert it. Okay, so it comes in this size, and what you want to do at this point is grab your clipboard or whatever you're putting this design onto, a frame, something like that, and measure it. Okay, so once you've got that measured, you can just pull it from the corners, or you can go up into the top and resize it. I don't suggest unlocking it just because it will get it out of proportion, but you can, obviously do this here. So I'm going to close this just because I already have one. And then if you look here over in layers, you can see that it's not only the text, but it's also 2 apples. And the original design, I believe one of the apples was a different color. See, one has the little stem and one does not. And when you're crafting with paper, it's really hard to attach that little stem. So it's great to have like the full apple, and cut it out in brown or whatever for the stem, and then you overlay the red on top of it. So that's why there's 2 there. But for this purpose, since we're using vinyl, I'm just going to hide that one. And so this is already sized to the size that I would like for it to be based on the size of my clipboard. And my clipboard is a mini, so I'm not doing a large clipboard, I'm doing a small one because I wanted to use my Cricut Joy to create this. And so if you look here, so 4.445, this is as large as I could get it to cut because my Joy is only going to cut 4.5 wide. Now you can cut 12 inches long with your mat, or you could do, smart material and cut much longer, but only 4.5 inches wide. But of course you could use your Explorer or your Maker, and make this much bigger. Okay, so now that I have my design the way that I'd like it to be, we're going to go ahead and hit Make It. And so with my Joy, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to choose multiple ways because I want to use smart vinyl for my lettering. And then I'm going to skip down to my next, which is the red, and I'm going to put it on a mat because I want to use a remnant. So I'm going to use a little piece of remnant red. Okay, and so now at this point we can go ahead and hit continue. And so my Joy is now connected. And for this first one, we're going to use smart vinyl. And then we'll go ahead and hop over to the craft table. I'll show you everything we're using and we'll cut our smart vinyl. But when you get to the next step, remember to come back to your desktop or your app on your phone and change this one over to a regular vinyl. So you'll go into Browse and it'll just be the premium vinyl. Here we go, right here. So this is the one that we'll be using for that one. Okay, so let me close out of that real quick. And then I'm just going to go back to smart vinyl. And so we're ready to cut. So here we are on the craft table, and these are the things that we're going to use today. So I have my Cricut Joy, I have my smart vinyl, I have my regular vinyl, I have transfer tape, which is absolutely critical when you're working with vinyl. I have my weeding tool, my Cricut Joy mat, a clear acrylic ruler, and a pair of scissors. Okay, so let's go ahead and move everything out of the way, and we'll start out with our smart vinyl. Okay, so let's load our smart vinyl. We just want to run it under the feeds. And I like to hold it at the edges so I don't get my fingerprints on the vinyl. So now the machine is going to pull it in and make sure that it has enough to cut our design. Now the next thing we want to do is go back to our app or our desktop and select Go, because the Joy does not have any buttons. So now that our cut is complete, we just select Unload. Okay, so now all we need to do is trim off the excess. We'll set our machine out of the way. And so we will just take a pair of scissors, or you could use your straight edge cutter. I love a straight edge. We're just gonna use our scissors today and trim it away. Okay, so at this point, what we want to do is we want to put our red on our mat. Now remember, you go back to your app or your desktop and make sure that you select for premium vinyl, because this is no longer smart vinyl. It's not as thick. So what we want to do is we want to do premium vinyl, and then we want to check it out online and see, okay, so how big is the apple? It's roughly 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, so we're going to go 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. But this is a remnant that I had left over from another project, and so I'm just going to use the whole thing and then trim it out after. I love using remnants. I love saving larger pieces. So get yourself a little Ziploc bag and save all those remnants. So now we're going to place that into the machine. It's going to feed it in, and then we just need to select Cut. Our cut is complete, and so we just want to take that out of our machine. We can close that up and set it to the side. Now when you take vinyl off of a mat, remember that we're always bending the mat and not the material. And so then we can set our mat aside. And this apple is not very large at all, guys. So we're going to be able, I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but we're going to be able to trim that out and save the rest of that vinyl for another project. So we'll set that aside. Now we are ready to weed both of these designs. Okay, so just taking a weeding tool, we just want to pull away all of the excess of our design. So the apple's super easy. And so the smart material is a little bit thicker, so a little bit more to hold on to, but I am going to take a pair of scissors and just cut away. Not sure if you guys can see this on camera, but kind of cut around that excess. I love to save materials, and even though this is smart material, you can put this on the mat. So we're going to set that aside, and then we'll just take our weeding tool and start working away at it. Vinyl weeds really, really easy. The biggest thing with vinyl that you need to do is make sure that you go back over it with your hand and that you don't miss anything, especially when you're doing lettering. You just don't want to leave anything behind. So now that you have these areas here, you just want to make sure that you pop in there and get out the centers. And then just go over it with your hands, make sure that everything is out and it looks good. Now that we've weeded our design, what we want to do next is we want to take a piece of transfer tape, and I just want to make sure that I have a piece large enough to do the project. So let's see. And so then I can trim that out using the little grids as guides. We'll set this aside and this aside. Okay, so now what we do is we just literally take the transfer tape at the corner Don't peel it all the way off, just peel it back. And then we can kind of overlay it. And use the grids as much as possible. We can overlay that onto our design. Okay, and you can even take a scraping tool if you need to. I'm just gonna go over it with my fingers. Okay, and then I'm going to be able to peel that up. There we go. And I have found that the Smart material is a little, it holds on to the vinyl just a little bit more. It's not bad, but you may have to work at it a little bit to get the vinyl to come off onto your transfer tape. And there we go. So now we are ready to place this onto our clipboard. Okay, so I have my mini clipboard and I have my ruler, and so now I have my design. And what I want to do is I want to make sure, obviously, that I am centering it well. And I do want it to be slightly to the bottom. So just kind of using my ruler and the little grids on this as a guide. There we go. And so then you can just take your finger and go over it. You can also use a scraping tool or a brayer. Scraping tool gets in all those little grooves, or you could use a brayer. These are both great tools for this. Okay, so once you feel like it's down as well as it should be, peel from the corner, just like iron-on. We want to go from a corner, and we pull away the transfer tape. How cute is that? Okay, so I've done this before in white as well, and I have to say the white and the black are both darling. I am kind of loving the black. It's nice little pop. And then what we want to do is we want to take our apple. Now you can use transfer tape, or you don't have to. Since this is one element and it's all together, there's really no point. So I'm going to save my transfer tape. I know some people are like, oh, you can only use transfer tape once. I do not believe in that. I love saving my materials, and so I am going to save that. And then I'm just going to peel up my apple and place it down, just being really careful to cover my apple. I'm not getting it in the right. Okay, let's try that again. There we go, there we go. Okay, so I hope you liked that project. And you know, it's not just about this particular project, but just about teaching you how to use vinyl as well. So if this wasn't your cup of tea, or you had a different design in mind, just knowing how to then, you know, cut that vinyl and apply the vinyl, even layer the vinyl with the multiple colors. I hope that you found this to be educational, and I hope that you can create something of your own from this. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions about what we did here today, I would love for you to leave them in the comments below. I'd love for you just to leave comments, period. But if you have anything, I would love for you to leave it below, because I want to help you to craft with confidence and enjoy your crafting and have fun. Okay, so if you've not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 of our back to school.